Hello, hello. Now it's working. For some reason, OBS reset my microphone. Anyway, sorry about that. So, where were we? Yeah, so I was saying, here we are again. Fourth time. Unprecedented. Historical even. That we've lost in a row at home. 3 was unprecedented, and we spoke about it last time. But now it's 4. What does it have to get to before changes are made? The optics are one thing, and I think more important at this point. Underlying statistics, variables, people talk about, the 9+2 metric. Perhaps that's keeping Gonzalo in place, or maybe there's a coach they're desiring that isn't available yet. They haven't locked the position down, so why fire the guy? There's probably a couple of reasons for why we haven't made changes yet, but I feel like everyone is saying we need to make changes. We just keep getting worse. Regressions keep happening. We're doing habits that we shouldn't be doing. We go down, we get a red card, and then apparently we start trying to play soccer. Unfortunately, it's not enough. It typically never is. You don't want to be going down first. You don't want to be playing catch-up. You don't want to give the other team the psychological advantage of leading and drawing you out. LAFC, maybe we're a little lucky with not getting punished for relaxing back so much in the bends, but that just goes to show they were confident they'd get away with a smash and grab. And that's exactly what happened. Man, that was a frustrating one to watch. The first half, we'll get into it, but man, that was not great. Second half, there was some life, but I mean, again, you can't be waiting until things are dire to actually turn on the gas. It's unacceptable for professionals, for players. You got to start. Tristan's got to start like that from second number 1. I don't know why he waited so long to turn it up. It was very frustrating to see. So, with that, we got some guests to get to tonight. We have AJ to get to tonight, as every night. And so let's bring him on. AJ, let me hear what you have to say about this game while I take another drink, because, man, this team is making me drink.
Guys, we all need to calm down. Like, Pineda is the best thing that's ever happened to Atlanta United.
What have you done with AJ? Where's AJ? What have you done with him?
He's the coach that's going to bring us forward. He's the guy that has gotten the longest time, and it's deserved. He's absolutely the man for the job. I mean, I don't know what you guys are all seeing at this point. We're playing the best ball that we ever have. We, you gotta trust the process, guys. Like, this is something that's happens with every club, and that's okay. Like, we all need to just accept that.
It's just soccer. This is just what happens in soccer.
Exactly. It's just soccer. Like this. Every club goes through this. Our expectations are way too high. It's just we shouldn't be angry at all. Like our ire should be drawn to actual real things, and this our hard-earned money is we have a lot of money that we can just pump into all this. It's constant. Like, I am flowing with money that I can put into all of this. So this is great. This is like I love this. This is Pineda is the guy that should be our coach forever.
All right, I mean, the forever undying God Emperor of Atlanta United. Mm-hmm. You heard it here first.
So at the very least, I think people should realize, and they should probably start bowing at his feet.
Bend the knee.
Bend the knee, yeah. I mean, Joseph, he was bending the knee to the wrong person.
Huh?
I mean, he should have been bending his knee to Gonzalo Pineda. That's why he was ousted, because clearly, he is the man.
I mean, obviously, before Gonzalo got here, every time he bent the knee, technically if you actually looked and you paid attention, Carlos Bocanegra was actually there, kind of in the back. You couldn't see him, but he always. It's like kind of like how you pray to Mecca, 5 times a day. That's he gets on the knee to Boca whenever he scores.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like like a little filmic moment. You just like rack focus from Joseph Martinez past Gonzalo Pineda, and then Bocanegra is up there in his suite, and he's chuffed. He's absolutely just he's like, man, I have
how easy is this gig?
Yeah, like, man, like I can fail every day and nothing happens.
Yeah.
Man, I am golden. Absolutely golden. And this performance, in fact, it's on the fans. Like, these fans are dumb. Like, why don't they realize
they're straight gaslighting?
Like, why can't they realize that, like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to them? Like, this type of football is the best that they will ever see. So why are they upset?
Yeah.
Like, they're foolish.
So I gave them a trophy in 2018, and now I am good forever. I'm no longer able to be criticized.
Yep. Like, ivory tower status, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm what's her face from the Disney thing with the red hair. I mean, it's like, like, there's no level of criticism that should be lobbed at me that would get me fired. I mean, it's just basically like, Arthur Blank, man, like, he knows what I'm bringing to this club. If I were Bocanegra, like, it's just like, that's what I'd be thinking. It's like, man, what what haven't I done for you, Arthur Blank?
Yeah. It's not what you've done for me, it's what have you done for me lately. You remember that skit? Oh yeah. Old stand-up comedy skit. Eddie Murphy, if anyone knows. Anyway, so we're gonna end that whole skit with a nice round of applause for AJ. Round of applause, thank you, very good. Oscar nominated.
Yeah.
Definitely.
In all seriousness, we haven't won since March 31st. There's the whole 43,000 people that showed up at the state, like, the fact that they're even announcing it.
They kept saying 35 on the broadcast.
Yeah, that's probably more like it, and let's be honest, it's probably a little bit less than that too. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know how many other things that they have to do, essentially, that it's just going to make people feel pretty embarrassed, because they continue to do not only the Golden Spike thing, and I understand they have sponsorships that they need to fulfill, but, at one point, that's where the CEO steps in and, like, oh, okay, hey guys, we probably might need to just cool it on this. And okay, while we have sponsorships that are in place, let's maybe think about some other ways that we can be creative, that we can fulfill them while we're, really struggling here. And I mean, basically 2 months without a win in the league. What else needs to happen?
Yeah. I mean, like, people have been fired before for, unprecedented, non-historical, runs of bad form. And this guy, he gets multiple. He gets to break his own records. That's the crazy part.
Yeah. Right. And, he's like, I fully believe in the team, and okay, yeah, sure. You got to back your team. He's saying the right thing there, but people that are complaining about the refs, people that are complaining about the calls, like, honestly, we can talk about it, but I'm not concerned about that. Like, that's not why we lost tonight. You know, like the general play. Like, did we look likely to score? I mean,
No, I mean, there
it's
was like one or two. I mean, when Rios missed that sitter, I'm like, it's not going to happen tonight. It's just not going to happen.
yeah. And let's just be honest, we're relying on our third choice striker to try to bail us out. It's just like the thing is, our patterns of play are just not good enough, and our chances are too basically. We're hoping every chance we're pumping it. We're hoping, and it's just not a thing where I think any fan can trust the team. And this was symptomatic when we were flat track bullies, but now we can't even like there aren't any other teams that we can bully when we're sinking further and further down the standings. So
Yeah, when do we play New England again?
yeah, exactly, right. It's like there's only so many teams that are worse than us that we can play when you're 12th or 13th in the standings. So yeah, and frankly, I mean, a lot of other Western teams are probably better than us right now too. And that was a thing that the East is so strong.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. Yeah, Bartosz Slisz, he's about to be away for probably a month or more. Rumor is that he might be getting married, and he's going to be away for a personal matter, and gone for the Euros with Poland as well. So yeah, that's a big miss. He has been a very good player for us. A big reason why we have not conceded that many goals. Let's be honest, the goal that was conceded today was a bit unlucky.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Like multiple levels of unlucky.
Yeah, for sure. Not only the dog so, but also, it deflecting off of the wall, and then Josh Cohen, his first involvement, he can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, I hate that for him.
Yeah, right. And it's still he was still able to get a hand on it, sort of, pretty close to it anyway.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's a type of game that, with the starting 11, us starting with two strikers up top, we kind of went all in on just route one. We'll pass it about a bit, we'll possess the ball, not really do too much with it, but then we'll pump it into the box and try to hit him at the back post and try to do something there. And it's just not exciting football. It's not. Yes, you don't have your best players. Yes, all that, but I mean, if we're resorting to that essentially now, what are we doing? It's just it's a roster construction thing as well. So, it's not completely on Gonzalo Pineda, but the longer we keep him in there, the levels are just gonna continue to drop, and fans, they're just the fans that went today. You think they're gonna be excited to go to another game? I'm not sure. Those fans that are getting those free tickets, that are getting those, tickets from their friends or family members, or that can't go to this game. It's not because people are, wanting to see the product on the field. Word is getting out. It's bad.
Yeah.
Really bad.
All right, let's get to some of these comments in the chat. Hit us up, guys, with your thoughts about the game tonight. We're going to get into some guests in a minute. Strong says, success, Atlanta? How are these two part of the same sentence? And they aren't at the moment. Xavier says, U.S. Cup is our only hope for this season. If we lose, then the season is done, since I have absolutely no faith in the regular season nor Leagues Cup. Boca needs to leave yesterday. Boca out, Pineda out. Strong's, Brian Baird says, is 12 winless career ending for a manager? Pineda might have to step down. I think we've been having that conversation for a while now. Jack Dickens says, it's clear the club as a whole doesn't care about the fans. It's starting to seem a little like that, and it's hard for us to say that, and it's not what we want to say. It sucks. But it does seem like they're okay with mediocrity, unless they have some kind of big plan cooped up that they're not talking about, that they believe will right all the wrongs, but there's no indication of that. There's no sign of that. It's just, we'll get to it. We'll fix it eventually. It'll be fine. Just hold on. I mean, this happens in sports sometimes, and to a degree that's true. But at least we want to see progress in the right direction, and I don't think we're getting there. At least it's not fast enough for our liking. And if we want to take ourselves as a serious big club, I feel like you got to move a little bit quicker. I don't think it's irresponsible to do so, at least not in this stage. Jack Dickens says, actually I already read that one. Strong says, guys, the thing now is way more serious than a simple coach change. Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it. There's a sickness in this club, and it goes from top to bottom. It's not just with the coach. Bryson Cicero says, disgraceful. Strong says, Almada is out of form. Saba might be called to the Euros. Giakoumakis might go to Cruz Azul. Our CBs are rotating injuries. And now Slice will leave to go to Poland and won't be back before the Euro. Brian Baird also says, anytime we get out of our strict formations, we play better. Down to 10 men, suddenly we play much better. 10 minutes left while trailing, abandon the plan, and they start playing better. Jeffrey Barber says, do you think that Pineda should be fired? Yes, I think so. Alex Winberg says, all hail Lord Pineda. Mavery and his cuisine. Yeah, you want to say something?
Yeah. As if that's even a question right now. Like Pineda.
Yeah, Jeffrey Barber, it is a far gone conclusion to me at this point. So.
Right. But the other comment about Boca and basically it illuminating, pretty much the front office. It's not just Boca, obviously, but he has been needed to be, let go for obvious reasons, for the sins of the past, essentially. And well, basically, by them not taking accountability for the wrong hire in Pineda, now it's being highlighted and the flashlight is being shown on them now. And the longer that they wait, the more it's going to illuminate on everything. And they could have pulled the trigger a little earlier to, stop the bleeding and make sure that, hey, fans, like we hear you. This is not acceptable. Like we're trying to right the ship.
And the thing is this: better. It's like some transparency, some humility to say, listen, we screwed up. Clearly, we screwed up here. We need to try and fix it, and we're gonna do better. But it's everything's great. Please renew your season tickets. Everything's fantastic, right. And it's just that's the thing that hits weird to me.
Exactly. It's basically they're in damage control and they're not taking any accountability for it. And basically, they're operating like business as usual and like, oh yeah, this is just a blip. Like guys, we're even if we sneak into the playoffs, we're not doing anything in the playoffs. Like we can hope as much as we want to, but we cannot win on the road. So if we don't get a home playoff spot, what do we expect to do in the playoffs? The season is in jeopardy. It's been in jeopardy. It's pretty much no longer a thing that can be saved. It's really, like everyone is saying, it's all in on the U.S. Open Cup. It's all in on the Leagues Cup, but Leagues Cup obviously is very inopportune with the number of players that are out and the competition that's actually in it. Like the U.S. Open Cup is essentially, a it's a little league cup. Like, but we can win it and get in the Champions League. So we might as well try to put everything in there. Yeah. But yeah, it is a bastardized competition.
Yeah. Let's see. So Mavery in his cuisine says, glad to be back for my weekly therapy session. Welcome in. We'll bill you later to your insurance. Can we have some good news from an Atlanta sports team? I don't know. Jack Dickens says, I mean, the Atlanta Vibe earlier this year won their whole season or something like that. So that's something. Jack Dickens says, it's a shame a lot of people that work for ATL don't have the passion Joseph had in his pinky. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of like, this is my Barcelona that's not showing up in these players. And that shows, I think. And I think we could stand to have some players, like Giacomakis is coming close to doing that, and I appreciate some of the things he says. But we really don't have players like going like saying a statement similar to what Joseph said about like Barcelona. This is his Real Madrid, staking something out, saying like, this is my home. I want to like destroy here. I want to do great here. But like, it just sounds like these players are like, yeah, I mean, like in a year or so I'll be in like Toronto, or a year or so I'll be in like LA, and it doesn't really matter. Like, who cares? This whole league is a carousel, and I get paid regardless, and it's not a big deal, So that's what it feels like with a lot of these players.
Yeah, I think the word has gotten out as well that MLS, it's a cushy league to play in because you can fail upward a lot, and basically it's the league pays you. So, your paychecks come from the league. And after that, it's like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, didn't do so hot at this team, but yeah, I mean, there's another team I can maybe latch on to. It's basically a big, kind of, a whole league that you basically get scouted.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, oh, cool, no big deal. It's I'm not too pressed if we win or lose. We're like, yes, these players are humans. They, absolutely still deserve to be left alone. On social media,
absolutely.
Don't send any vitriol to anybody here. Like, basically, this is the safe space in order to basically, just kind of air out the feelings because. Yeah, it's essentially so many people involved in the club. I feel like are complacent, and it's sad to see. It's sad to see that this is what it's become.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Jeffrey Barber says, you know what? I'm gonna say Jeffrey. He's not a huge fan of Giacomakis because. He spelled his last name wrong, so clearly he didn't get the memo that, you will learn to say my name, because Jeffrey never did. So he said, we need a new striker to replace Giacomakis. Yeah, I mean, especially if he goes. And a lot of people are saying that, considering the fact that he's injured so often or away on an international duty, which may or may not change in the future, we could use a striker that's proficient, not a secondary or third MLS level striker, which in the way we play and the way we see things, apparently just cannot get the job done for us. It has to be our starting striker, or like we will not really find joy in a lot of our games. So that's an obnoxious thing that I think the club has to wrestle with. But I mean, I remember someone was saying that, like, I think it was like Sam Jones, they were trying to talk about how when they built the 2018 roster, they not only wanted them to be fast and dynamic, one of the big attributes they wanted for the team was to be durable. And I feel like we have not prioritized that whatsoever since then.
No, yeah, exactly. It's basically, availability is an ability, and we do not have enough of those type of players.
Yeah.
You have Brooksland and you have some of these other players that it's less than a handful, but basically it's very difficult to run out, and play the game that you want to play if you don't get those type of players. And, that's a little bit on recruiting. It's a little bit on the coach. It's a little bit on not only the strength and conditioning coaches, but also the players themselves. And as basically what this really is and supposed to be is that they should be looking in the mirror and trying to figure out all the things that have gone wrong and what they can do right going forward. And it doesn't seem like they care.
No.
All right. Just same problems over and over.
Let's get into some of our guests. We're going to have Drew hop in first, and he's going to give us the lowdown. He had some spicy things to say in the Discord. Another plug for our Discord. If you're not joined it, please do. Talk all the time on game days and off. A lot of great discussions going on. If you want to keep your tabs on all Atlanta United stuff, we post things the instant we see them. So you'll get them there if you don't follow or follow any of the other kind of news aggregating sites. So, and the community is the best on the internet, in my opinion. Might be biased, but that's just my opinion. All right, so Drew, how you doing? Welcome.
Oh, it's a night.
It is a night.
It is a night.
I was going to say, adding to the third drink now.
Third
whiskey
drink,
right
okay.
now.
Whiskey, yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Oh, we suck.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you see tonight? What are your thoughts?
We were lifeless. We were lifeless for the first 80 minutes of the game. And
That's pretty much the entire match.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then red card for LA comes out, and all of a sudden, the team that we were promised starts showing up. We start seeing dynamic attack. We start seeing us starting to control the game, and you're like, where was this team the rest of the game? Where was it? And it's infuriating that I like one of the comments said is we have the plan, and then the plan doesn't work, and as soon as they decide to try to throw everything forward and just ignore the plan, we start to look like a capable team again. And it goes back to the root issue of the tactics for this team suck. We don't play in a way that actually benefits these players or makes them look the best. And I don't know why we're still sitting here with Pineda in charge of this team. It's infuriating as a fan here.
Yeah. To your point, it's the urgency in which we're playing. We definitely seem more likely to score at that point. We're definitely dominating proceedings when we actually do that. But the urgency to actually play like that just doesn't happen from kickoff. And I mean, if that does not scream who that responsibility belongs to, then I don't know. Like what else? It's a long list of what belongs to the responsibilities of the coaching staff, and these players are not ready to play the match. I mean, it's just straight up. Like, how else can we put it? Like, these players look lost out there. Who does that fall on? Yes, the players misplace passes. Yes, the players are not clinical. But that belongs to the start of the system that needs to be placed in, so that these players are still running into the same positions. Like, these zones that they need to be in, they don't know where they need to be, and they just end up crossing the ball from,
So I heard one of the questions, one of the few questions from media tonight, which is weird. I thought media should ask more questions, but Doug Roberson asked, and it kind of almost it almost felt tongue in cheek. I knew he's being serious, but it just seemed a little funny to me that he was like, the team was, advancing the ball. They're trying to get up and they're attacking, getting into the attacking third. And then they would always slow up and then pass back and then recycle. And then allow the other team to get into their defensive positions. And he went, is this the plan? Was this the idea? And Pineda was like, yeah, I mean, not really. But like, he also kind of understood that, the way that LAFC set up defensively was something he was not prepared for or knew was going to happen. He was surprised by it, he said, and he admitted to it. So I give him some, props for admitting that he did not know that LAFC would set up that way. But, even so,
your team to play the game in front of them.
Yeah,
and he hit the root issue right there.
Yeah.
He is not preparing this team well enough, and that's
because they can't adapt.
Issue.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Yep.
So I thought that was poignant. So I also have up here tonight the 5 takes from Glenn. He already put them out. 5 takes in the 5 stripes. He puts out his 5 takes after every game. He has some interesting ones tonight, and I thought we'd go over them for a second. He says the starting 11, albeit it's not the first choice, was chosen and set up to score an early goal. Best we could do was get 56% possession and then 0.5 XG. That 11 was talented enough to do more, and we didn't. By the way, we've had the majority of possession in all our losses. Thought that was an interesting point. He also says, speaking of doing more, Gonzo has consistently talked about simplifying the game for these players. You know what's not simple? Having more of the ball. This team is not capable of playing tiki-taka possession ball, and Pineda has refused to adjust. What do you guys think?
Drew, I'll let you
go. It just goes back to the point of what are we doing? We're not set up for this type of football. Mm-hmm. We're set up in a way that our best players aren't able to do what they're good at because we basically try to outpossess the team and do nothing with it because teams have learned, hey, let them have the ball. Sit back, let them do what they want. They're not going to score. And the fact that we're that predictable, that's an issue. The fact that LA decided to try something new and throw 3 center backs in there and basically just sit back a little bit deeper and hit us on the counter, that means they came into this game going, hey, they can't do anything on the counter. Let's just sit back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And I see what he's trying to do in terms of Pineda, like simplifying it, putting it into a 4-4-2. It is, defensively anyway, the easiest for players to actually figure out. Like, it's very simple. The zones that they need to be in, like, yes, they don't need to move very far. Like, they're basically most of the zones will be covered. And so for the most part, defensively, it's like, okay, yeah, we have it covered. But I think, with that kind of base, okay, yeah, you earn the right to play, but you still see some guys that are not putting forth 100% effort, and you see guys that, I'm not really sure are in the starting 11 by merit. And yes, while you're injured, you don't have, all your best players, you can't really, choose from the best 11. I think you can still, motivate from competition in places. And yeah, I mean, it's just like, it just seems like we're throwing every idea we can at the wall and nothing is working. So at this point, what do we have to really try to, I guess, try to see like what the result is? Like, we've seen all the iterations. We've seen Pineda try different things. It doesn't work. So what does it come down to at that point then? Like, he's not the man for the job. These players also are not fit for the club. So, whomever it doesn't work, they need to be gone. That's just straight up what it is.
Yeah, so let's do a quick rundown of the stats tonight. Atlanta United with 63% of possession. We had a 1.37 XG. They had only at a 0.97. We had 17 shots.
Pretty much a certain point in the match.
Right, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, this is totality, right, yeah. I can break it up until halves if you're interested. First half, we were at 0.62 XG.
And they were nearly at 1.
Yeah, they were at 0.83, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is still, it's pretty bad from LAFC too.
Yeah, I mean, they created almost nothing in the second half with a XG of 0.14, so they weren't even trying in the second half, obviously.
Yeah. It was a mediocre off, essentially.
Yeah. We had 479 passes to their 273. It's a wild difference. Yellow cards and red cards obviously the same.
I was saying we did F all with it. So.
Yeah, exactly. We had 9 shots off target. That frustrated the hell out of me. So many shots were going awry. It was so frustrating. 5 were on target, so there's at least that. But, damn, that was frustrating. 11 shots inside the box. Nothing was able to come of it, though.
Yeah, it's further of just toothless. When we get the chances, we can't finish them because we're completely bereft of confidence now.
Yeah.
And which player on the team has confidence right now?
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about that.
Schleich?
Let's talk about that for a second, because the fourth point on 5 takes, 5 points, was Brooks' drop-off is deeply concerning. We've called him Mr. Reliable for a reason. He's been a robot at times with his endurance and consistency, and something has seemed to happen in his software. He looks defeated, gassed, and his service has been crap. And it's true. I put this in the chat tonight in Discord, the match chat, that, it's amazing. It's like a statistical aberration that all of Brooks's crosses were able to find where we weren't. It was incredible.
Yeah, I think he's not the only person that's been broken.
At least you would find one of our players by accident sometimes, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah, no, he's literally joined the club.
Yeah,
the people that have been broken.
Yeah.
Sadly, I think it's tired legs. Tired legs. We rely on him so much to do everything that at a point he's probably worn down. But then you add the lack of confidence in him. He's probably trying too hard at this point, and he's overcorrecting everything, and it's just he's not playing freely, and that's one of Lennon's best strength is his ability to play freely and kind of flow and get in positions throughout the games where he can find little pockets of space and make play balls in, and that's not happening anymore because he's just overthinking everything right now.
Is it possible that he has some kind of tiny injury that's just thrown off a lot of what he's doing?
It wouldn't shock me.
It rare could be, yeah, but we don't have anybody else that can really play.
Exactly, which is why he does it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so basically it comes down again to roster construction, which is we don't have depth in the right places, and you're gonna wear down your players, and especially with Wiley gonna be gone. What is gonna happen? We're gonna have to rely on some kids that are gonna get exposed. This could spiral even more. It's just.
I fully expect it to. Things will not change unless something changes. I feel like that's pretty obvious. If you just keep rolling out the same thing and then you objectively make it worse, it's just gonna get worse. I don't see a rung to grab to climb up a ladder here. There isn't any. So. Yeah, let's read a couple of these comments before we let Drew go, and then we'll get his final thoughts. JLF ATL says, Said it a couple weeks ago, but now is the time for Garth to address the fans. We need to hear something. I kind of agree with him there. I feel like Garth has been a bit quiet. Then again, I feel like I've heard someone say, hey, he speaks to the media almost bi-weekly, but I don't know. I haven't heard it. I'm just not finding it on Dukes and Bell or something. I haven't heard it recently, but
yeah, people aren't listening to the radio. Let's just be honest. There are some people obviously, but it's just like the overarching people are not listening to the radio.
But what the guy says on the radio is gonna filter into the rest of the media, and I just haven't heard it. I haven't heard like Garth said this weekend, whatever. So I don't know. Maybe he's done it, but I don't know. I haven't heard it.
And it's also this. It's like it's state run, So basically, they can't ask the real questions that they want to ask. So, yeah, if he does a press conference, okay, let people in that actually will ask the pertinent questions. Let Felipe Cardenas in.
Yeah.
Let people that will actually ask tough questions so that these people are accountable. Yeah. And because basically, the more that they can get away with right now is basically what was happening at the top of the show.
Yeah. So Brian Baird says, dead on, Garth has to speak to the press about this run of form. Strong says, sometimes the silence is more deafening than words can ever be. That's very true. Bryson Cicero says, agreed, AJ, refs played no part. I mean, refs did not have a good game this game. However, like you said, it wouldn't have made me feel any better. I mean, even if we like somehow managed a goal and like tied this or something, I'd still be like, there's nothing really has changed here. YoPro20 says, will Goose be suspended for 1 game or for the max of 3 games?
I think it was a straight red card, so.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it might be wrong, but I think it's only 1 match, but.
That's my estimation.
Yeah, but I think when it's 3 matches, I think it's probably like a more violent kind of contact type of thing.
Yeah.
But.
So Strong also says, guys, Atlanta is Pineda's first coaching job. He came here to learn. Our problem is he isn't learning. Let's just hope that he will eventually. I mean, yeah, he will eventually, but I believe that will be at another club. Sokatep says, maybe they don't fire him because they do not have a replacement ready. Who would you put in his place? Who is available? Yeah, again, we've said it before. Yeah. That's beyond our pay grade, but...
let's address that, though.
Let's get into that.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah. Because, I mean, but Drew, I like it. You're a little fired up. Go for
it. Anybody. It doesn't matter. Anybody is better at this point. Just because... I come from hockey background, and a lot of the things that come out is once a voice gets drowned out, people just stop paying attention to coaches and stuff like that because the voice is the same over and over again, and they just don't listen to any message that comes out. At this point, it's not about trying to find the right person. You get an interim right now, because the voice needs to change. Who's speaking right now needs to change so the players listen. That's a big thing. Worry about finding the right guy during Leagues Cup, during that summer window. That's when you look for the right guy. Right now, get him out because the players are just going to not listen even worse. So, just doesn't matter who it is at this point.
Yeah, I mean, on that point, it's basically, okay, we've been nearly or are the most anemic team away. Literally any coach is better than Pineda away. Most teams can win at home. We haven't been winning at home. What are we waiting for? The other bit. So, operating out of fear, you're just going to attract more of that. And basically in this right now, like us fearing that, we don't have anybody, like, yes, you put somebody in the interim so that you can stop the hemorrhaging, find somebody that can actually, 1, coach, 2, who's a fit for the club, because he's not. Like, it's clear he's not a fit for the club. And, yes, right now is the period of time where you can find the best coaches. If you wait till the end of the season, the MLS season, we have very few options at that point. Right now is the time. You have a lot of leagues ending right now. Like, operating on that whole, like, oh, well, who are you going to get? There's a bunch of options. A lot of people either left their jobs by, firing or, willingly, or are looking for jobs, or, trust me, there are a lot of other coaches that are being, I guess, groomed, for lack of a better word, to be head coaches. And there's plenty that are better than Gonzalo Pineda.
Listen, our next coach is clearly going to come from the Belgian second division or the French second division, so just get ready for that.
Better than what we have.
Probably better. So, yeah, Drew, final thoughts.
There's a lot of passengers on this team. For some of the performances I saw tonight, players need to be sat, players need to be benched. Tristan, I've loved your play for a lot of the season. Tonight, until the last 10-15 minutes, you look like a passenger. It's time for you to sit. To the Gulch here. It's time to use your voice here. We deserve better performances here. Make that known. The AC Milan had a sign a couple weeks back of, we don't expect more, but we deserve better. Something like that needs to be said, because until the club realizes that we have a voice in this, nothing's going to change.
Yeah, that's pithy and to the point. I like it. All right.
Well, Drew, yeah, always a pleasure, man. And hopefully there are better circumstances in which we.
Please, I just want to be on for a win.
Yeah.
I know, right? Yeah. I hope so too, man.
One of these days.
Yeah.
Like I said,
All right,
when's New England? We'll schedule you then.
Oh, God.
Yeah. All right, homie. Well, yeah, be well, and have a great rest of your night, man.
See you. Good night.
All right. Now our next guest is getting his computer fired up. We're going to be looking at some of these comments. Sokatep said, we already read that one. Chris James says, dude, I can't take this anymore. I feel you. Brian says, Rob has proven he can be a temporary option. Oh, yeah, Valentino. That's true. Literally anyone, Alex Winberg says. Strong says, football is not something you do. Football does you. Yes, that sounds very Russian. I enjoy that. Brian Baird says, hell, let Dax coach him up. I mean, that guy probably has a mind for it.
Man, player coach, that hasn't happened in some time. I think Wayne Rooney.
Yeah, but I mean, Dax has I think Dax has the intelligence for like a potential in that field. So, yeah. Yeah,
probably in the future. Who knows about the tactics and all that yet? But
who knows?
I mean, I think you do kind of need somebody that can, I think, rally the troops. And it's clear the voice is yes, like. You see fight when there actually is a point in which they feel like, okay, we got to do something. But like from the off, it just doesn't happen. But anyway, Niall, welcome.
Hey.
Let us know your thoughts.
I don't know. It feels like I'm repeating myself, honestly, when I say this, but just not good enough again. I mean, Brad kind of just, why did he have to do that? I don't know. Just it's kind of hard to really say much besides just it's not been great, and the vibes are getting increasingly worse and doesn't get any better, because at this point I just don't see how anything is salvageable, honestly.
So what would you do to change things? Like, how would you fix things?
Listen, for me, I think whether or not it's fair, I think there has to be some personnel changes, and whether that does mean letting go of Pineda as well. I think ultimately after the game against Charlotte, I think that's ultimately the decide on whether like or not a change is made or not. I think if Atlanta loses against Charlotte, then I think for me the plug is ultimately going to be pulled on Pineda. So I think for me there has to be some personal changes. I can see that as much as the players say that they like Pineda and things like that, it's just there's just some things that definitely don't, I think, click, and there's just some, I think, tactical issues that are currently the team is currently facing. So
when you said not salvageable, what were you referring to in your mind?
I think for me what I was referring to is you are in the table, you're, I think, what, you're 12th, you're 13th in the table, right? And your goal,
I think so. I haven't looked at it. Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, somewhere around there. And your goal was to be, according to Garth, was to be a top 4 team in the East. But for me, just looking at the schedule you're playing, right, and also the amount of players you're having out. For example, Bartosz Slisz, I think he's getting married or something like that, so he's now gonna be out till, I think, after the Euros or whenever Poland gets out. So for me, that's when I mean when I say it's not salvageable at this point, because you've dropped so many points, and then at the same time you're having players that are coming back, of course, but then you have players that are leaving, and then the schedule gets harder from here. You have, I think, Miami coming up next, and I don't know. It's just, for me, I see the same issues with the team, just every match, and for me that just shows to me that there's just some things that are currently not able to be, that I just don't see getting fixed currently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as far as I guess, coaching changes and all that, I sense maybe in your voice, it's not something that you particularly like to see, maybe from clubs that you support. Obviously, with Liverpool, more of a stalwart with those. But in that kind of regard, right, of like kind of your thinking, like coaches that they need time, right? Is probably your thought process a little bit. Do you feel like he's been given his due process?
I mean, I feel like he has. I mean, because I get it. Like, he's had players injured, but at the same time, you've had players come back as well. And for me, I understand, like, it's not possible to play at your best without your best team. But at the same time, like, you're now, like, at a point where it's like I think you're at, like, what, 10 games without, you're at 10 games without a win or something like that. And for me, it's like you still, for me, have enough talent to do better than that, in my opinion. And ultimately, it's a results business. So, like, whether it's fair or not, like, I get, like, for me, like, as much as GG is a good player and, like, Almada is a good player, like, for me, I still think there would be issues with this team currently, even with them back. So for me, I feel like Pineda's been given time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially, it's like, we're doing worse than our 2020 season. We're doing worse than, I believe, our 2022 season. And it's like,
how is that even possible?
Right? Yeah. And with the expectations going into the season as well, by every estimation, we are not hitting the marks. We're not hitting our goals. Our team objectives are absolutely not happening, and they have no chance of happening. So, again, I implore, what are we waiting for?
Yeah. All right, let's read a couple of these comments while we got Niall here. Jack Dickens says Jean de Silva is not very good. His first couple months, he looked exciting, but this season he has shown he's not a starting left wing. And that was countered by another comment saying, I think Xande is a clear upgrade over anyone else that we have at left wing. I mean, I think actually both perhaps could be true. He is an upgrade, but is he also not a starting quality left winger?
I think he's got the ability, but I think it shows why he wasn't really starting in Europe. And, you know, it is what it is. Like, I think when he had confidence, when it's also this, like, it seems like the more time that players spend with Pineda, they seem to kind of regress and not really improve.
Definitely not improve. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Someone could perhaps argue a bit with regression, but like, yeah, improvement? Hell no. What are your thoughts, Niall?
Yeah, and about Shande or just...
Yeah, do you think he's a starting quality left winger for Atlanta United?
I don't know. The thing about it was when he came in, right? I think for a lot of people, they were very like much in awe of the way he was playing. But for me right now, it's just he's not been playing that way. I'm not gonna say like he's. I think he still has the potential, but for me right now, he's not. I think definitely playing up to his best, and he's definitely not currently showing that he's a MLS caliber winger.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, AJ has said in the past that, you know, the league kind of found him out. That in the beginning he was kind of a X factor, and now all of a sudden they solved for X, so he's no longer, you know, something that can dumbfound them. Scuba Pig says, hey, the main thing we got to figure out is who's going to replace Pineda as head coach. It's already a done deal that he's out. I mean, possibly. And that will be, you know, on Garf's head and Boca's head to figure out if Boca's still around, which, you know, cross your fingers, but who knows. Newman917 says, we see over and over, new player arrives, he's a star, 6 months later, he's unproductive. Pineda is not only destroying the team, but also the individual players. That's quite an indictment. I don't know if I'll go that strong, but there's at least, like we talked about, a regression that's obvious, we believe. So, destroying, not sure, but regression, yes. Let me keep going because there's a lot of comments. And Tara Moody says, this is our Arizona Cardinals game. Arthur Smith or Pineda should be gone after this game. Maybe Pineda has a lot of FedEx stock. LOL. Alex Wimberg says, Gonzalo Pinata. Good wordplay, Alex. Very good. Kevin B says, majority of possession, all while not scoring from the run of play in 1 trillion minutes. But that's what I feel like is happening. Newman917 also says, every game we play going forward should play 3 center backs because Pineda can't figure out how to break it down. What do you guys think of that?
I mean, yeah, speaking of being found out, yeah, basically, you know, our tactics have long been found out, and, you know, we haven't adapted. It's like mini sports, but basically, you know, you have your first year, if you do well, you do, you know, like at least pretty well, you know, the league is going to adjust to you. So you have to adjust to the league, you know, and then after that, there are the moments that you will have to find new ways to play and new ways to, you know, win. And we haven't found any ways to win on the road. And so, you know, I think now it's trickled into the home form where, yeah, I mean, we can possess the ball all we want, but, you know, nothing's going to happen because toothless in attack. And, you know, again, at that point, you need new ideas. it's not coming from the coach. Where's it going to come from?
Mm-hmm. Anything you want to add, Niall?
Yeah, I mean, the blueprint, like when playing against Atlanta United, is just a three-man back line. I mean, the fact that, you know, LAFC was willing to play that formation, and when they haven't done that, like when they have not played that formation before, in the season, I think just shows that, hey, like this is how you play against Atlanta United. You play a three-man back line.
Smash and
then they
grab.
struggle to break it down, which they have. So I mean, why not? If you see other teams play a three-man back line against Atlanta and find success doing so, then why not you do the same? So that's, I think, like, we are being found out in that regard, but at the same time, like, we have to figure out ways to be able to deal with the back three, and we're not doing a good enough job with that. So
yeah, and unfortunately, the way to deal with a back three probably is playing with your own back three with two strikers up top, or at least, you know, some more movement, maybe dynamic movement with your strikers. And I mean that
dynamic movement. What's that?
Yeah, what is that? But we don't have the personnel for that. Like, our roster isn't constructed for that. So we might be able to do it in a one-off game, but one of those wingbacks go down. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like,
all right, let's I'll read a couple more and then we'll let Niall give his final thoughts on the game. And Tara Moody says, predictable. Now, where have I heard that word for another Atlanta sports team before? Scuba Pig says, when we were down by one player and one goal, we had no choice but to play more offensively. Some people around me in the stadium said this was a better game, but I think we just had no choice. And that's true. I mean, if you're losing, throw the kitchen sink. Why not, you know? It's not like we're in some competition where goal differentials are going to come into effect here at all. And Ingest 101 says, man of the match, our defense, Boca and Pineda out. And also Antara Moody says, Asia got a fresh crib.
It's not.
He's just sojourning right now.
Yeah. But there does need to be some plaudits for Stian Gregerson. He had a really good night in terms of pretty much commanding that back line, dealing with the last-ditch things that he needed to in order to keep that kind of scoreline where it was at the time anyway. And I think it's pretty telling. It's it's like, if he's not in, it looks dire a little bit at times. But yeah, I mean, it's just like, the excuses that could be made is like, yeah, we got undone by an unlucky goal today, but that's the thing. It's like, we still didn't score.
Yeah,
we still didn't, really create good enough chances. Like, if you look at the XG, that's super telling as well. And Pineda loves to look at the XG. So, hey, like, these chances.
The goals are gonna come, AJ. That's what he says every time.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, it's like it's not because we had like glowing chances that were like, absolute sitters that we missed. Like, majority of them were hopeful. Like the Rios one, I'm not even sure it's a sitter. Like he still has some to do to actually put that in the back.
I had at least 2 or 3 people in the chat today say I could have put that in.
Not with the confidence that this team has.
That's true. And then so one more comment. They're gonna fire Pineda. They aren't gonna fire Pineda until a bad loss happens. I mean, like a blowout like Miami next week. That sounds right on target, but
Yeah, that's about to happen probably, and that's the thing. It's like, okay, a little bit. I fear this a little bit in the sense that, personally, anyway, because I am gonna try to just take a break. But basically, I fear that they're gonna announce it on Monday, and I'm shutting down. I am like, I'm gonna be off the grid, But that's a great news dump day so that like, oh, most people are away. They won't read basically because it's an acknowledgement of failure, which is, I think, hey, keep failing. That's what the best and most successful people do, but they learn from those mistakes in order to get success. And it's basically like, yeah, I have a feeling they're gonna maybe do it on Monday if they were gonna do it, and it's just like a news dump, and I'm gonna be off the grid, guys. I'm sorry if it happens on Monday and things aren't coming out from Atlanta United Fan TV. You'll know why, because
Yeah, you heard it here that Atlanta United's poor performance tonight has forced AJ into seclusion. He's going to become a mountain man, disconnected from the internet in the Dahlonega Mountains. So, all right, Niall, we will let you go after you give us your final thoughts on the match.
I don't know. Like, it was not great, and hey, we play Miami next. Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
yeah, right now we're dreading matches, and that's just not a good feeling as fans.
Miami rested all of their players just for us. How thoughtful.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it probably wasn't necessarily rested for us. It was more like they didn't want to risk them on a West Coast trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah. But also Tata. Tata's like, you know what? TIK TOK.
Maybe. I mean, we're an easy scalp right now in MLS, so I mean, that seems like a no-brainer. So, all right, Niall, thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Cheers, always a pleasure, man. Have a good night.
All right, we're gonna have our last guest come up, join us soon. Until then, let's read a little bit more. By the way, that last comments, his account name is Wild Police Clips. Interesting account name. All right. Let's see.
Shouts out if you actually have Wild Police Clips. If not,
he may very well, but I'm not going to look at it now. He may very well. Let's see. Their conversations are happening. So he also says we can't win or without Almada Yakamakis. That's already proven. The team can't win home or away. That's proven. I don't see why we are still holding on to him. Yeah. I mean, yeah. True. Okay, so, and now we are going, let me just change the name real quick. So it is not Niall who's on the screen, but instead it is the epitomous Ethan joining us. Ethan, welcome. How you doing? Can you hear me, Ethan? Earth to Ethan, can you hear me? I do not think he can hear me.
Hey. But all good. We'll give him some plaudits and shouts out. He is the guy that edits our reels.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're wondering, much love to Ethan, and he'll never hear this unless he watches the stream again. But guys, don't let him hear this.
All right. Well, he'll figure out the audio issues while we're waiting for him. There's plenty more to read here. So Mason Hughes says we can't win with Almada or Gigi. Not win. All we know how to do is pass backwards. There's no attacking threat even with Gigi on the field. I mean, there's an attacking threat with Gigi on the field, especially from set pieces because he's a tall boy. But I get your main point though. The build-up play doesn't lend itself very nicely to like tiki-taka, quick exchange. Attack scenarios. Let's see. Likes. Yeah, leave some likes for the guys, peeps. It helps the channel. Thank you, Strong. I appreciate that comment. It does. Please leave some likes. We got 33 watching tonight, almost at midnight. You guys are amazing. You keep doing it. You keep joining us in these late night events, and we appreciate you guys. It's awesome. Mason also says the tactics don't work, especially when you're not coaching players on the tactics. I've seen Saba Almada make the same errant run and passes for weeks, and nothing has changed. Yep, that is something I feel like we've all been seeing, is the miscommunication, not being on the same page. The chemistry is just not there. No
On
matter
that.
how many times they practice, no matter how many times they run the drills, they just still can't get on the same page. So,
Yeah, and on that, like, so, if I see Mascara and Lemon make the same runs again, like, man, I'm going to lose my mind. It is, like, the fact that they just keep operating the same zones and no one says anything on the coaching staff. Clearly they haven't. And because, yes, you overlap, yes, great, but there's just, like, they're just so close together that one person can mark both of them. So what's the point? Like, get far enough that you can actually play through a team instead of just pumping ball after ball after ball.
yeah, dude. And AJ knows a thing or two about pumping balls. So he helps us. We play soccer sometimes on the weekend, and he's got a ball pump. So that's what I'm talking about. Anyway, Ethan, is your audio working now?
Ridiculous statement.
Awesome. Great. Sounds good. We can hear you loud and clear. All right, welcome.
Awesome.
So yeah, give us the your take on what you saw transpire tonight.
Okay, so I mean, just to start, I would say I'm disappointed because like that's anytime I come on after a loss, like that's like the general thing. But like at this point, it's like kind of what I expected. Like it's not even, it's kind of the norm now. Like AJ, you always say like at this point we've been mediocre worse for 3 seasons or more, like 5 seasons now. But
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, it's just what we expect, and that's rough to go into games like that. But yeah, there's like one of my biggest things why I think Pineda has to go is like we have how many times have we seen like 60 to 70 minutes of like really boring play, and then we have these late surges of urgency where we kind of abandon his tactics and then we actually start to create more, and it's more exciting and everyone's enjoying more at the stadium. Kind of happened a little bit tonight, but there's just so much going wrong, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, what do you think is the reason for that? Why do they, like, I get it to some degree that they get fired up when they get scored on. They're like, crap, we need to do something. We need to respond, or they go down a guy, or like somehow the formation breaks and they need to just throw everything at them. So throw formation to the wind per se. So like, is there any other way that you see it that like explains this weird behavior? Because it is weird to me that they can't just manufacture that from the get-go. Like AJ said in the beginning of the episode, like, why can't you just start like at 100%? You don't seem prepared for the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it's like game state related when we're already losing, so the other team is sitting back more. But I mean, it's an issue of just, I guess, coming from the coach, like you have to be prepared more. And I think you kind of touched on that earlier. But if they're not having that like aggressive mindset, like back in the like 2017, 2018, more like attack-minded mindset versus how we're playing with this slow build-up now, then it's just gonna keep happening where it's this very slow and supposedly methodical way of playing.
And boy, is it slow. It is painful to watch this team build up. It's just, I even said in the chat, like, it's like, oh, here we come. The slowest MLS team in the league to build up. Like, it's just watching them it's like, watching like old armies slowly cover ground. It just takes forever to get there. And when they do, they finally get there and they don't really do anything with it. So it's all that anticlimactic, built up for nothing.
It's anticlimactic, and everyone knows exactly what's going to happen. Eventually they're just going to get to the wings and try to do an overlapping run or something, and then try to cross it in, and then it goes completely over everyone's head, or the defense gets it, and it's predictable like every time. And yeah, even like really the only time there was any kind of play that wasn't like showing a little bit of creativity was when Thiago comes in But then it's not even a system of play. It's really just everyone playing off Thiago and not.
Yeah. Yeah, because he will break down one defender, causes the other defender to start moving out of their normal place, their comfortable position, and then it frees up space for our guys. So then it's easier for them. Thiago not there, then now those defenders don't move. Our guys remain covered. They don't know what to do. They recycle possession back. Tristan did it once, I think, which was nice with like a back heel. Because is what I say in MLS every time I see it. If you see someone do a back heel, it just breaks the brains of like everyone, and they just are like, I can't. They fall over. So it's awesome to see when your team's doing it. Is Tristan opened up a heck of a lot of space with a back heel tonight.
He did, but yeah, it's also that it's like you have the player in Thiago Almada that basically he can be Mr. Chaos for you. He can create things out of nothing. But the issue is that I think too many people ball watch, but there's also no patterns of play for them to predict where they can be. And again, it comes down to coaching, where that's how you utilize the best strengths of Thiago Almada, where he can break down the defense. So at that point, okay, where can your players be so that they're in the best possible position that they can affect the game, and so we can score ultimately. That's the point, right? And it just doesn't it doesn't seem to be where Almada, when he's in that mode of just balls to the wall, he's gonna create something. People they don't know where to be. They just end up there's a lot of through balls that are, perfectly weighted, but they don't know how to make the run, because it's just they weren't ready for it. They were flat-footed, and I mean it's just it's on the coaching staff to create those patterns of play so that players know where to be, so they're not just constantly guessing and looking like a team that hasn't played together. Because how many times have we said that? It's just
yeah.
But,
the only time I feel like we ever look dangerous is on the counter. But if we do get set up in the other team's 18 or whatever, it's no one's ever moving. It's most of the time it's Thiago passing, and then he generally runs into someone else. That I feel like we rarely get chances off of established possession in the other team's side of the field. It's mostly off counter, and like you said, I think that's a result of no structure of play from the coaching. That's frustrating.
Yeah, it definitely is. Let's read a couple of these comments while I got Ethan here. Sakatep says, you got to wait till the Miami game to fire Pineda. If you fire him now, bring in a replacement, and his first game is a bad loss against Miami, it's going to be a tough start. I don't think we're going to do that. Don't worry. I don't think we're going to bring in a new coach in that tiny amount of time. I think we're safe from that. Mavery in his cuisine says, hey, AJ, I've already decided to go off the grid until this team wins. Join me, brother man. You guys are going to find each other out in the North Georgia mountain woods together. Distilling moonshine or something. I don't know. So Gavin B also says, we appreciate the late night therapy sessions. Thanks, guys. Well, thank you. Thank you for being with us. Wild Police Clip says, I love that name, Wild Police Clip. I just feel although Valentino may not have the experience you would like, he does possess leadership, something we need. He's also a bit of a Dutch uncle that we like. But also, he has proven he can win as an interim coach. I would be fine with him. I mean, I would be fine with anyone, beyond Pineda right now, because I think any kind of change from him is at least progress in the right direction. Even if it's not a good change, it's a change, and change means trying, and that means they're trying something, and that makes me happy. If you don't try to fix a problem, then that makes me sad. All right, Mason Hughes says, AJ, that's a great point. The passes are also not quick enough when there are good forward attacking runs. Instead, it's heads up, stop the ball, turn, and play backwards or laterally. Yeah, that's true. Any thoughts so far?
About the off the grid, yeah. I mean, I think because next time you see me, I'm gonna grow a long ass beard, be a mountain man, and I mean, it might be years. Before you see me.
Absolute years, yeah. Incredible.
Do you
Let's
know
see.
how
Sure.
long? Was it 21 when he had Rob Valentino? Do you know how many games he had?
It's not
it
a
was
lot.
like months. It was like a short amount of time, but it wasn't obviously a long like part of the season. But
Well, kind of related to that conversation. Like, I'm not the first one that said this, but I don't want to bring in a coach like before Miami, or I would wait. People have said like I think June 2nd game after that, because they made like a 2-week break before our next league game. So I think that'd be a great time to cut ties with Pineda and then bring in, or just let Rob Valentino just start to rebuild, hopefully some chemistry, hopefully some trust in the players, and hopefully try to turn something around. But if the first match with a new coach is a really hard loss, like that's gonna make it that much harder to turn things around. So
Yeah.
I think you have to be very strategic about when you pull the plug on Pineda.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, it's great points for sure. So, sorry to cut you off, man. But yeah, because it is that. It's like, yeah, you want the coach to be able to actually coach the players, and when you have games thick and fast, yeah, you don't really have the time to actually implement anything. You're really just, hey guys, I'm the new coach. All right, we're gonna play. Okay, what were you guys doing before? Okay, yeah, that wasn't working. Okay, well, don't do that, guys.
Yeah.
And,
What do you want to do? Might be the question you should ask.
Right. Yeah, and so it's that is a fair point for sure, but it is still, it's like in the interim, it doesn't matter. Like for your interim coach, he's gonna take L's. It's just part of it. Like Stephen Glass, that was definitely part of it as well. So be it. But
I loved his press conferences, though. Tell him that.
he was very forthright. Yeah, the Dutch uncle thing is very accurate.
Mm-hmm. All right, a couple more. We're almost through these comments. Wild Police Clip says they can't start at 100% level is because of leadership. Guzan isn't enough. Pineda needs to lead. Scuba Pig also says Almada's often up in other attackers' grills when we're on offense. It's like he's trying to play TIK TOK or something, but it never works. I don't know if that's his fault or if it's the coach. Hayden says we need to focus on style of play, not a tactic. And World Police says, well, it's both. And he also says, what if it's Diego de la Torre? I don't know how to spell his name. Mason Hughes says, it's hard to build chemistry on a team of players that were promised that Atlanta was a stepping stone to Europe. Cough, Boca, cough, trying to repeat. A Miggy situation. That's a good point. I mean, that's part of like what I kind of touched on a bit earlier with, the softness, the easiness, the cushiness of MLS as a league and players coming here going, well, it doesn't work out of Atlanta. I can just hop over to New York or hop over to, LA or something. Like, it's all intra-league transfer, nice and easy, So, yeah. Thoughts?
Yep, great points. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, no real thoughts on that, man. But yeah, it is just Diego de la Torre. I mean, yeah, if he's his number two, I think that's the thing, though. It's like it's all Pineda. If he's gone, he's taking his assistant coaches with him.
Right.
So, Rob Valentino is a guy who's been with the club longer than Gonzalo Pineda has been, so he probably would stay. But yeah, I don't know if he'd do it again. Maybe he would. Yeah, we're acting like Rob Valentino would just be like, oh yeah, no big deal. I'll do this again.
Hey,
But,
I mean that's Rob Valentino, the coach with the average highest goal differential of any coach we've ever had. Just saying.
Yeah, smallest sample size too.
I know. It means nothing, but still. All right, so if there's no more comments, guys, just have them roll in because we're going to be starting to finish up here soon. Ethan, what are your final thoughts on this game?
So I don't think you guys have mentioned this before, but we've been, or this show at least, but we've been sitting on 99 wins since March, and LAFC just hit their 100th tonight, beating us at home.
Yeah.
They joined the league a season after us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It is absolutely embarrassing. It's a great point. Yeah, I mean, yeah, for basically 10 matches, we've been trying to get our 100th win, and yeah, it's yeah, LAFC. When they were in the MLS Cup final, I didn't want them to win, but they did it, and they've made deeper runs than we have in the Champions League. It's we're the thing that we could hang our hat on as far as one of, if not the most successful franchise to enter the league. Well, yeah, we've long been not that anymore, and the days that we were trying to be competing with the likes of Seattle Sounders with the longevity and being that type of new franchise that is doing things right, is the model club. Everyone wants to be us. No one wants to be us right now. It's like at this point you have most of the other clubs and their fans are like, oh, that's an example of what not to do. You don't want to be Atlanta United. You don't want to see that happen to us. Quote tweeted, all that, mentioned. It's, yeah, that's exactly it. That's how it can unravel. And
yeah, you don't want to have Tom Bogert tweet at you saying it looks bleak.
Yeah, which he did. Not to us, obviously, but to the club.
Yeah, that would be rough if you said it to us. I'd be like, really, bro?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've seen him get at people in his comments, so it's like, it happens.
All right, Ethan. So yeah, that was all that you had for us tonight, and with that, we will bid you adieu. Unless there was anything else that you wanted to say.
Well, one short thing. For some people have given. I mean, there are plenty of people that still want Boca gone, but a lot of people have still given him credit for the last couple windows have been decent, but I don't think enough people have talked about the fact that we're in this coaching position where I think we've held on to Pineda for so long because of the poor hiring of the previous coaches, where we had some short windows, so we had to have some stability, and just so we're not constantly turning over coaches. So I think besides all the past failures, we're now dealing with this coaching situation. Even if the players that we brought in have gotten slightly better, I think we just need the whole thing.
Yeah.
The office needs to be changed.
I agree. I think it needs to be a kind of a clean house scenario. That's just the way I see it, because it can't really be worse. So,
Well, yeah, Ethan, always a pleasure, man. Yeah, appreciate your thoughts. Have a great rest of your night.
All right, you too.
Yeah, see you, bud. All right, with that, we're going to read the last of the comments. If there's any new ones, I think there's two more. Get your comments in before we get out of here, guys. Mason says, sorry, Mike must have tuned in after you had touched on that. Oh, no problem. As long as you don't mind hearing me twice, I don't mind saying it twice. Wild Police Clip says, what do we think of Guzan? I love the leadership he provides, but skill-wise, is he the best option? We didn't get to see a lot of Cohen tonight. He made a nice save, but faced an unlucky direct shot. I think we'll start... I would hope, at least, that we'll start to see Cohen more. I think you'll see perhaps some questioning in the week coming about what Gonzalo, where Gonzalo is in terms of considering putting Cohen up. I wouldn't be surprised if he said, yeah, maybe it's time for that. But because I think that goal was largely something Guzan was at fault for. I don't like what he did. Not quite sure why he did what he did. So, there's that. I think Cohen looked good. I mean, again, like you pointed out, that shot was stupid. That sucks. That was the literal worst scenario Cohen could have really been exposed to on his first minutes in MLS. It's just like everyone in the chat after Bogusz scored, they just all went welcome to MLS, Cohen. What a freaking welcome, man. Things just go from bad to worse.
Yeah. And so it's I don't think it's going to affect Cohen's confidence. Hopefully not anyway. But, anybody else probably. Yeah. That's to comment on that. It's going to shake you a little bit probably. But, I think there's some realism in that. Is that deflected shot.
No one's getting it.
And he was still fairly close to it. It's man, you just chalk it up to bad luck, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is just bad luck. He also says Guzan just seems clumsy at times to me. I mean, he is. He's older. I mean, he's going to slow down. His reaction time is going to be a little lower. He's not going to be able to get to the ground or jump really high as much as he used to. Whereas Cohen still has that ability. So, I think they both have aspects to their game that are important, but I think Cohen probably, his shot stopping, his mobility is probably superior than Guzan's leadership, because we've seen a team that's lacking leadership, and Guzan being there hasn't seemed to do anything. So I don't really care if we don't have his leadership as much anymore. It's not like it's gonna, I guess it could get much worse, teams hanging 3-4 goals on us every game, but I just don't see that happening with Cohen in goal and with Stian, and obviously Schleich is going to be gone for a little bit, but with those three in place, I think that's a solid core defensively speaking.
I think, Schleich, that bit's very important, because the shielding of the defense has been a reason why we've conceded less this season, but it's still, the going forward bit, that's been the issue this season. And, that was something that we're probably not going to be worrying about. But instead, that's our biggest worry.
Yeah. So Octavio Mingora says, slightly disagree with cleaning house. There's no question that Gonzo must go, but all of these compounding issues are a byproduct of his tactical naivete. Can I speak correctly? Not enough pressing in the final third. Yeah, the pressing is just disjointed. The triggers and everything just seem off. So that's that. Yeah, that all needs to be figured out. But it's and don't get me wrong. When I say clean house, I don't mean get rid of everything. We talked about in the last Five Stripe Weekly, I think we talked about what would be our core going forward that we'd like to preserve for the next season. And so we had a couple of people in that, not a lot. Like I mentioned, Cohen, Stian, and Schleich are the big three. Outside of that, it's So, not fully clean house, but a good amount. And Wild Please Clip says, at this point, whatever change we think we need to make, even if it's a minor change, like putting Cohen in, it needs to be made. The pressure is on Pineda. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, if you don't make changes, that means you don't care. If you change something, at least you're trying. And if you're trying, then I'm happy. So, yeah. So that is about all we have time for tonight, guys. If you have any more comments, quickly get them in. And we're going to hear from AJ in terms of his last final thoughts, if he has any. I know you've been talking a lot, but if you have anything else, now's the time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, before we sign off, it's definitely, while it may be trying times at the club, it is definitely, we appreciate you guys for sticking around and lamenting with us. We're giving all of each other the therapy that we need, clearly, because, it's they're testing us, that's for sure. The club is testing our patience. They're testing. We're being traumatized on a bi-weekly basis now. So that's fun. And we'll finally, I guess, get some reprieve in June, where obviously, fewer games. We can hopefully get back into, where they're doing some more training, because when you're in good form, the games come thick and fast. It's great, gravy. Like, everything's easy. You want to play more games. The next game couldn't come fast enough. But when you're hemorrhaging wins, yeah, it's what you see right now. And yeah, they don't have time to actually go over the things that are going wrong. And so definitely that is playing a part in it for Gonzalo Pineda. But let's be real, a lot of the patterns of play that we talk about on a weekly basis are still the same in terms of what we see. So it's not like it's going to change drastically, a lot of the things, but it does play a part in the form that we have. So I think that context is key to be able to at least give Pineda that, because I think that is a truth. But that's what it is. But any last comments?
Yeah, Wild Police Clips says, if we win against Miami, what then with Pineda? Well, I'll tell you what then with Michael, is I'm probably going to shotgun a beer, maybe multiple beers, and do a shot, and it's going to be either on live, on stream, or whatever, but because there's just no freaking way in hell that we're going to beat a fully rested, Barca 2.0 on Wednesday. I don't see any way in hell that that's happening. But if it happens, it'll be an entertaining stream, I'll tell you that much.
Are you doing the beers before the shot?
Probably.
Oh my god. I fear for your liver. And
I mean, it's not like I'm going to drink a lot. I know, like, beer before liquor, you're never sicker. But it's not like I'm going to, like, drink a shit ton and then... Because if you do, then that would be bad. But no, it's not going to be... it's still going to be fun, though. I'll tell you that much.
Right. Well, yeah. Was that the last one?
That was the last one.
Okay. Well, yeah, definitely. Really, everyone, we appreciate you guys so much. We're at 12:18 right now, and if you stuck around, it is much love to you guys, and definitely hit that like button if you haven't already, and do all the YouTube things. And we will see you in the next video. That's Michael. I'm AJ. Have a good night, everybody.
See ya.